This week, we've got a bunch of stories of drivers caught in their lies by dashcam evidence, and the results are so satisfying. Plus, we're giving away another dashcam at the end of this episode, so keep watching to see if you won. Tia was headed to her mother-in-law's house on her day off. After waiting patiently for a traffic light to turn green, she proceeded with her left turn, only to be blindsided by a speeding SUV from her left. The Infiniti SUV flew through a red light and T-boned Tia's Jetta, destroying it in the impact. Witnesses claimed the SUV driver never applied the brakes, but that isn't visible in the dashcam video. After the Jetta was totaled, Tia replaced her VW with a cloud blue-wrapped Tesla Model Y named Cindy. She told us her whole family watches our videos, and thanks to us, most of them have dashcams. David was on his way to work and had merged into the exit lane to pass slower vehicles blocking the passing lane. As he drove past a Mercedes in the travel lane, the driver suddenly realized they were about to miss their exit. You know what they say, bad drivers never miss their exits. The Mercedes driver jerked the wheel, sideswiping David's Mazda CX-5 and sending it down the exit ramp. Thankfully, nobody was seriously injured. Here's where David's story gets really interesting. He told us the other driver claimed he'd been driving straight down the highway and that David had hit him. David decided not to tell him about his dashcam and called the cops. When the police arrived, David let them talk to the Mercedes driver first. Once he told his tall tale, David showed the officer his dashcam footage, and the officer told David that the other driver had lied about what had happened. Not only did the officer find the other driver responsible for the collision, he also gave him a traffic citation. David said that the other driver's reaction indicated he couldn't believe it. But the story doesn't end there. The other driver proceeded to lie to his own insurance provider, telling them David was at fault even after the police report and citation proved otherwise. After David sent them his dashcam footage, they accepted liability. That story was long but satisfying. The same can't be said for this one. Yep, that driver just went the wrong way through a red light literally 4 seconds before it turned green. Sadly, they got away with it, but not without David capturing their license plate number for the world to see. Victor was driving his Toyota Tundra, following his mom's Honda CR-V loaded with relatives. As the intersection ahead of them cleared, they finally had an opportunity to turn just as the light turned yellow. Before the other light turned green, a driver on the right hit the gas before plowing into the side of the CR-V. Victor told us the driver denied that she'd run a red light, but she also wouldn't call the cops as she didn't have a license. Victor called them instead, then waited for them as the driver's male friend, perhaps her boyfriend, arrived. Victor let the cops talk to them first, and he told us the driver started looking at the sky when asked for her license. Now it was Victor's turn. He told the officer he had dashcam footage, and when the cop watched it from inside Victor's truck, he immediately found the other driver responsible. He ended up citing her for operating without a license, running a red light, and causing a collision. Victor told us they're still dealing with the insurance provider, but they're going to demand the CR-V be repaired by Honda. This submitter was driving down a California highway when he spotted something burning in the distance. Amazingly, it was a tree engulfed in flames. We have no idea how the fire started or what else happened, but hopefully nobody was harmed by the blaze. This submitter was just getting off a Texas highway when an Acura driver suddenly swerved into his lane. He slammed on the brakes and hit the horn, barely avoiding slamming into the Acura with his Ford F-150. He told us this was just another day in Dallas. If you thought that was bad, be sure to watch our Worst Drivers of Texas video. We took a bunch of our best dashcam videos from Texas and put them together into a special episode. Derek was making a delivery during rush hour when he watched a tow truck slam on the brakes for a red light. From back here, it's hard to see what happened. Let's see what Derek discovered when the light turned green and he went around the tow truck. Yikes! It looks like Honda bumps happen even when Hondas are being towed. Derek told us he returned to the scene after making his delivery and provided his dashcam footage to the police. Cody's wife Bethany was driving down an interstate highway when the pickup in front of them sent a piece of road debris spinning into the path of a semi-truck, which then sent it into their lane. Bethany tried to avoid hitting it, but without much room on the left, it ended up going under the tires. Thankfully, no major damage was done, and Cody estimates the repairs needed at less than $1,000. Jeremy was on his way to work at his new job when the driver of the Toyota Camry ahead of him continued past a stop sign. Assuming she would merge onto the road, he was watching for his own opening and didn't see she had stopped. Jeremy told us he was ready to accept fault for the collision, but a week later, the Camry driver began demanding he pay to fix her car, pay for her medical bills, and even pay for her to go to therapy. When Jeremy reviewed his dashcam footage, he discovered the Camry was already heavily damaged before the impact, and the driver was out and walking around after the collision. He sent his footage to his own insurance provider. Thanks to his dashcam, Jeremy's insurance provider settled with the other driver for only $1,000 and his rates didn't increase. He told us that after this experience, his dad is getting a dashcam for his car too. Quincy was on his way home when the driver ahead of him slammed on their brakes for an emergency vehicle. He hit the brakes too, bringing his Volkswagen Jetta to a sudden stop. The driver of a pickup truck pulling a trailer swerved to the right to avoid rear-ending Quincy, driving up onto a traffic island instead. Both drivers then stopped and checked for damage. Thankfully, this close call didn't cause any damage to either vehicle. Quincy wanted to shout out his father, who watches Wham Bam Tesla Cam and Wham Bam Dashcam with him. Michael was headed south on I-15 when he watched a Lexus SUV rear-end a car right in front of him. It looks like the SUV driver was more concerned with merging into faster lanes than they were with watching the road ahead of them. Michael told us the drivers appeared unhurt as they both pulled off the highway. He also thanked us for narrating our videos so he doesn't have to pause videos and read descriptions, adding that he's been watching the Wham Bam channels for a couple of years now. Thanks, Michael. We love you too. Jack was waiting patiently to turn left at an intersection with 2 left turn lanes. But what's that in the lane next to him? Why, it's yet another Tesla behaving badly. That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive. I don't know who needs to hear this, but whenever you're turning and there's another lane next to you also turning, turn into your own lane. Thankfully, Jack avoided a collision with the Tesla. He honked and flashed his high beams as the Tesla driver did what all bad Tesla drivers do, sped off oblivious. Jack also wanted to shout out Tina, who he called the love of his life. Aww. Davy's dashcam was running in parking mode when it captured this video of an SUV driver hitting a parked car while trying to maneuver through a cramped parking lot. Parking mode is when a dashcam will automatically come on and record video in certain situations even while the car is turned off. A safety circuit ensures the dashcam won't drain your car's battery. The VIOFO dashcam we're giving away today also has parking mode, by the way. Keep watching to see if you won this week. This emitter was on his way to school after waking up just 20 minutes earlier when a gray car pulled out in front of his Toyota pickup while he was going about 45 miles per hour. Thankfully, our submitter was able to avoid colliding with the gray Toyota after flooring the brake pedal and swerving into the oncoming lane. Kozel captured another parking lot mishap, but this time, the other driver hit Kozel's Mazda 3 while trying to get out of a parking space. Kozel found out about the collision when someone came into her workplace asking if she owned the Mazda 3 parked outside. The other driver was very apologetic and gave Kozel cash on the spot to repair the damage. Now, you might think this incident would have ruined her day, but she told us she was really happy to have a video to send to Wham Bam. She also wanted to shout out her husband William and their dog Sniper. Daniel encountered a Honda driver who seemed to be driving along with her hazard lights on for no reason. Out of the blue, she slammed on the brakes and started swerving around while waving her hand out of her window. She continued accelerating and braking while waving her hands for several more minutes. Based on the video Daniel sent us, we couldn't find any reason why she was doing this, and he told us he doesn't know either. Daniel said it looked like she was even taking pictures of him at one point. She eventually turned and they parted ways. He told us he loves all our channels, including Wham Bam Security Cam. Thanks, Daniel. Rhea told us her coworker Morton was driving the car they share as food delivery drivers when a BMW driver tried to force his way in front of him at a construction zone, even though there was no traffic behind him. Morton didn't back down and the two vehicles collided. After exchanging information, Morton returned to work without involving first responders. The insurance claim is still being processed. Kristen was on her way to the mall and was driving on the highway for the first time after only a year of driving. Check out the close call she and her sister witnessed up ahead when a semi nearly rear-ended another. Kristen told us the smell of burning rubber filled her Toyota Camry after the truck's wheels locked up to avoid a collision. She's thankful the trucker made the save and that the truck didn't tip over. Geronimo was headed home from work when he encountered an oncoming SUV passing a car over double yellow lines. As the oncoming vehicles got closer, the SUV sideswiped the car before driving off and leaving the scene. Geronimo stopped to check on the car driver, a mother with her 5-year-old son. He then turned around and tried to locate the SUV, but he never saw it again. Thankfully, the car was still drivable and the occupants weren't hurt. This submitter encountered an animal hopping around in the road one night, and I'll let you guess what country this happened in after you see it. That was a kangaroo, and if you guess this happened in Australia, you're right. Thankfully, our submitter was able to safely stop and avoid hitting it. This week's winner of a brand new VIOFO VS1 dashcam is Nathan, who drives this older Tesla Model S that doesn't have Tesla cams. We've got one more dashcam to give away next week, so be sure to enter if you haven't yet. Just email a photo of your ride to the address below. All winners are selected at random.
Wham! Bam, we got a Patreon, man. Please support the show.